Sanbonani, Dumelange, Abuchene, hello out there once again. It's your boy AKAY coming to you with episode number 20 of the Real Talk with AKAY. And on today's episode, I'm actually joined by Tebogo as we tackle the issue of unemployment in SA at the moment. Hey, the unemployment rate is actually high at the moment. Hey, and it's something that we're gonna tackle. But then I'm gonna first start by giving Tebogo the platform to actually welcome himself and give us a short background of who he is and what he's doing at the moment. So Tebza Michom, Shapere. I'm not. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let me just give you like that 1 minute, 2 minute yana for enjoy who you are and what you are doing.
Alright. I'm an activist. I'm a literacy activist. I'm a historian. I'm an aspiring writer. And I'm an educator. You know?
That's dope. So my man, as you are aware at the moment that our unemployment rate is actually sitting at 32.6% at the moment as SA. And so like I would actually like to kick off the show by finding out from you like what you will say is like the reason behind that, like what's actually causing this percentage to keep on rising instead of it going down.
Yeah, man. You know, I have just a few things. You know, I think we, outside of the climate of what is happening now, and I want us to focus on a few things, right? And as a teacher and educator, I think I have the duty in my fraternity, in the field that I'm in, to contribute in many ways as well, instead of only focusing on the classroom aspect of an educator. You know, I think as educators we have the responsibility that we are not able to share, or we don't get time or give ourselves time, you know, outside of the lecture halls and outside of the classrooms and, you know, your staff rooms. You know, I think we need more contributions on education and how it affects the life, and you see how it comes back to unemployment initially. Because we are speaking about school, in essence, it means you must understand the importance of what it is. What is it? You know, the definition,
the significance of it.
Because now, my brother, we have a society. You're asking me if why is the reason that there's an increase, and it's not decreasing? It's because we have a perpetual education system that does what? The school is supposed to, you know, inspire, teach, you know, instill, have an atmosphere of learning. And I don't want to diverge much. I will just, you know. So the school is bringing in to the society people who are going to be active citizens, who are going to participate in the economy of the country. You know, we'll get to that. So my initial issue is education. One of the points, one of the reasons, right? And in this country we have a literacy program. The Progressive International Relations literacy study in 2016, AKAY, and we keep saying this as a reference, because I think it's something that we know, we are seeing. AKAY in 2016 they took out a survey that was arguing on, you know, 78% of learners not in grade 4 in 2016 who, you know, could not read for meaning. So there is 8 out of 10 learners who cannot read for meaning. And then you have an education system that keeps, you know, sending them to other grades, because of age, this and that.
And
Right?
it becomes a problem usually when they get to tertiary. That's where like the problem usually arises, because I've also been in a position to observe like these students, but also thola ba shapa tsone di-field tse bo science and everything. But when they get there, it's a whole new different environment. Like it's different. Thola like motho na expectile gore it's still like science. So what you're saying, I can actually relate it to such things.
Sure.
But Eric is a whole biases.
No. We're moving. We must discuss, but
There's a lot. So
discuss.
just to get you clearly, you're saying that education is also one of the problems that's actually contributing to
One of the fundamental, not just
the
heavy
problem.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can definitely agree with you, because in most cases, the illiteracy, especially in townships, so you can actually see okay, people are there that are actually interested in a different education, like straight pursuing it, but interested. That's why like unemployment we have like a lot of high school dropouts and so on.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Sure. So yeah, no, that is why it's a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just move on to the second question, but then I feel like that's not only the only reason.
No, we cannot move like
that. That's not the only reason, my man. Because like there's a lot happening in our hood that's actually like contributing to this whole thing. We actually have like I said, the high school dropout rate. That's actually relating to education. The drug use, coca, Leon is contributing to unemployment. And then we also have like the 4IR movement that's actually in the process like of being introduced in the most industries. So that one will actually get to it later on, like a bit later. So but I feel like okay, education is one of the fundamental reasons. But what are some of the when we look at around our townships, we will actually say like they're actually contributing to the unemployment rate?
Okay, so when we talk about unemployment, we are also talking about labor, right? We're talking about people who live, these laborers are people who live in the society, they are part of society. So you must not talk of them as just workers who detach their personal life from work. It is to them, it is part of their lives. It is not their life. It is part and parcel, because there is life here. This human is selling labor. This is how well the world interacts in relation to economics. So I mean, just to these laborers, we have skills, we have labor, we have flexible labor laws, right? And so I just want to also not lose it with making the point, right? Is that these are people who we cannot detach from their lives. And then you have a situation in the country, right, where there is no jobs. The unskilled, we are talking about blue collar people. Right, we are talking about blue collar people who essentially, are getting out of jobs. They are running out of jobs, precisely because of the post-industrial revolution. Right, and if we're talking about society, we're talking about jobs and industrial revolution and the nature of work changing. We're talking about the digital divide, proximity to electricity. In a country where it lends other countries, electricity, but it cannot maintain.
It's still a load shedding problem.
This is happening. I am talking about a context.
I'm glad you're actually raising that.
This is we're still in the township.
Exactly.
Right? And then you want people to come back. We're talking about the nature of unemployment, the rising costs, unskilled and skilled laborers. I said we have unskilled laborers, right? And the difference between these two is that you find yourself where if you are skilled labor, you are moving with jobs that You need qualifications. You need
degree,
to
diplomas,
work. You know,
in the office.
in the office space, your IA, your computers.
Yeah.
Like you need to be interactive in that kind of, you know. So how do you get there? It's getting there. It's proximity to exposure to the kind of education that we are getting. These people who are supposed to be working that come from the council, you find that most of them start in the council. And we are looking at the kind of education that we have in the country. And then those who find themselves, then there's the majority, or not the majority, the minority rather, that find themselves being able to go to university, privileged enough to go to white schools, and then private schools, and then varsity, right? And then we look at, then they are able to earn a qualification in a certain way because they are able to pay fees, you know, they have environments that are conducive for studying, you know, and that's related to COVID. Why in COVID times?
And I was about to ask that, like, in terms of, from your own perspective, how you would actually say, like, how COVID has actually contributed to the unemployment rate, because as we witnessed last year when the pandemic began, like, hey, a lot of companies actually shut down for good during these lockdowns when we went to level 5. Most companies did not fail to make a comeback, and most people lost their jobs. So how will you say, like, COVID-19 has affected, like, the unemployment rate, and it has caused it to spike? Like, what would you say, like, the consequences, like, how observe and like how it's affecting, like, people at the moment?
You know, I can't imagine. These are issues that at times they don't need theory, man. They don't need for you to go read the childhood. You can read the conditions in the country, part of the experiences that you know you are part and parcel of.
Yeah.
I think now we just witnessed who we saw. They didn't have, they were just saying 2 minutes, they just had bread. You know, and we concluded, of course, you know, like, like Botswana, I understand. So that must tell you something, you know, must just come at conditions are tough. People are not working, people are hungry, people have been looking at people, they haven't been working, they've been looking at people who, you know, work and have lost their jobs while they haven't gotten any jobs.
But while we're on that, let me just ask you something. But then, I get people actually lost their jobs and everything that's happening, and the 4IR actually being one of the major contributors to this whole unemployment rate thing. But then, don't you think it also goes back to the individual? Like, okay, I lost my job.
Sure.
What's the solution to this? Like, we always have a choice. You have hands at the moment. It's just a matter of observing, like, where you are, or like what's needed at the moment. And I feel like it's something like most of us are not doing. Opportunities are there for us. I won't lie, my man, and you know that, you are aware of that.
Okay,
like,
well,
we keep on pointing the finger, like, our government is not doing this and not doing this. But when you actually take a look, right now you can actually venture out into being like a YouTuber.
Sure.
You can give a match the shoe company.
Sure.
And don't you think, like, like the lack of creativity amongst Rona as individuals, it's also the reason for, like, what's this? The unemployment rate being up. We're failing to think out of the box in most cases.
No.
Now, from your own perspective, like, what's Ishabe? Just look at, like, the quarter joints it says in thing around gas,
Sure.
Pandering gariki bula a quarter business, and then Loena comes so how fit are you, like, hey, this is dope. Why rather not be like, you be like, okay, AK has a business there, Upaisadi Court. Why don't I supply this guy, maybe the Russians and Viennas, instead of copying what he already has? That's how we actually defeat this from my own side of view. Like, that's how we can actually bring the unemployment rate down in most cases, because our government, our leaders are actually failing us. For instance, look at what's happening at the moment, SS condition as it's burning, how this is actually going to affect the unemployment rate. Just think about it and just tell me how it's going to affect us as individuals, as Bacha right now. What's happening? Because Zumama's what? The Zuma march and the shutdown that's happening at the moment. How do you think it's actually going to affect this whole thing? Like,
okay, let us deal with two things. We have the individual page, and then we have the protest and what you might call and this is during COVID. The individual page, there's two things. The individual page that you are able to practice or show or live out within the context of society. That individual creativity, when you start saying that, okay, let me make a plan to deliver for AK, the Diana, what position I was speaking at, right? There are people who are in a position where we have access to it. We have access to the very same level. The one thing of individual creativity is that when you are denied by the state, when it locks you down, it says that when you 5 days before lockdown, you must stay indoors. What are you doing in the house where there is knowledge, with no present, practice that is individual? It's not about the video of this man in the first lockdown that was showed, the Rato showed today, reminded me. This kid I was saying that, the stomach has no lockdown.
Yeah, I can
You cannot lock down the stomach. So there's a certain point where you can practice individual creativity. You understand? I mean, when the means are there, when you have access, I understand that when you have access to that.
I think most of us at the moment actually do.
Majority.
Majority.
One of the problem, this is where we're heading with for IR. Everyone must be given an opportunity, and this is what I want to also show you with the importance of information. Everyone must be given the opportunity, to flex or to participate or to their individual brilliance to come out. Right? Everyone must be given. We must get a fair opportunity. It cannot be that
fair chance.
Most of us, we don't want to speak about the lucky one. The statement you brought out earlier, I found it a bit problematic. Is that this is the narrative that is being created in the country, by those who colonized, who have the land, settlers, and this is not racist or anything.
It's a disclaimer,
not. But settler is someone who has settled. Why people doing?
Settler.
So there's nothing. So I understand. Then there is the narrative that is being created, and this brings us to the leadership question in the country. Right? That the education that we have is too light. Right? We have the private education.
Just asking for the view.
No, of course. Just to simplify it, I cannot be long on the phone. That one, you have a crisis in the country. You have a crisis in the country for a very long time, where the injustices or the issues that's been affecting society have not been addressed. You know, issues have not been addressed. Issues of, the Constitution in the preamble, it says it wants to. I have the preamble of it.
Yeah.
It says it wants to heal the wounds of the past.
Oh, heal the wounds of the past.
And fix whatever was, not properly done. All these things, all these past injustices that have been done. Reparations and the like, but in different ways. The two lines of education is because of people who are who have money, are able to afford. We are talking about come from dark why you have a situation in the country of unemployment where unemployment is when 8%.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Things are really bad. So that is most likely 7 out of 10 is unemployed. And I'm saying to you, you have a situation in the country where have different natures of what I too much is not a problem. Like that's been right for the shifty dance.
It's more like that.
My thing, just to is that it's excess. At higher levels, you have people protesting in a country of high unemployment. Well, they are trying to get a paycheck that's exactly how they and now your qualification. We know.
And we still go through varsity to pursue education, and then after that we become unemployed gradually.
You put your body on the line for a job that you don't even know. The very secure. Like you are getting a degree, but still you are reading about unemployed graduates. You are seeing memes of
you lose interest. That's the thing. Like I think most of my viewers by now are actually aware that we actually have an organization that assists with applying for school, like matriculants at varsity. I was once talking to this other kid last year who was in matric. It's like and then after that I'm telling 10-year experience. I think that's also something that our government is failing to address right now at the moment. Our leaders, this experience thing. I can graduate right now and then already Bampata 5-year experience. You see. So I don't know from your own side what would you say, like it's actually the reason for that. But then let's just move on to the next questions because my man, there's still like a lot to cover.
Yes, this is not okay. Let me try and quickly summarize.
Yeah.
So, we have an education system that's called the learner. Their education and this is what I think that is on a different track in terms of what this education that you are in, what is it that you teach? How do you then become a resource for your own people in the country as part of your identification? You live here, your ancestors have been living here. And you must continue, that legacy. Now, you have an education that erases you in life, and then it tells you what to do, what not to do, right? Okay, it's right. I lost that thought, but the gist of it in terms of all of that is that we argue You know, we argued about our experience when we were in class. You have a curriculum that is flawed. You have a curriculum that is internationally based. That's the reason the issue in this country, right? Is that we are not dependent. The education system does not teach you to, you know, sustain and develop the country's economy and sustain it. Like, we understand, it trains you to be a consumer.
I don't understand.
We understand, it trains you to be a consumer. So when yours is to, and that's why there's the argument that why the kids need to actually go to school, so teachers don't actually teach them. They are there for material gain. What Dr. Lushaba said in the lecture hall is that you know, lecturers who are lecturing with, you know, the other left with the other eye looking at the screen in the classroom.
They are not actually
understand
putting all their efforts in investing to make sure for the black child is actually pursuing the right education.
Like it's tough, man. It's tough, man. And then you have a whole business or a corporate labor society that requires you. Now you have flexible labor laws, right? They are very complicated in this kind of society. Because why? It doesn't want experience, but it's going to exploit you, right? And because you are going to work this type of job, because you do not have skills. Then what then must we do? It is to develop the people of this country. Develop the people to develop this country. In action.
Develop the people to develop this country in Africa.
Because the people cannot be so initially, so the issue is that the network that is being living in this country that people cannot be paid for themselves.
Yeah.
So understand, you need to change the curriculum and the entire system of this country. Because the policies are not working.
That's a tough.
We have a responsibility as young people, as youth, to come through. I mean, people are arguing that, you know, we need to place ourselves in specific places. You know, as the youth. Whatever about employees, we're not going to, you know, we're not going to argue these things when we are not engaged in pure employees. Right? That's why at times I question people who say, no, I'm not into politics.
Like those ones sparring
and if it doesn't affect them, then you are going to argue in your own home without being on the ground there and, you know, contributing to the discussion of where we're heading, but we want to complain.
That's usually the case.
So those are certain things. It's not like we can't. For IR, we need to. I'm not saying the country must not be international.
It's already there and it's already being in use, because I think right now how can go McDonald's. Those vendors and McDonald's is just like a little piece of the cake, because like in most industrial places, Chamdo, let's just watch Chamdo, the factory. Right now they're automated. You know, like the Blomama site, like going up and down to work, like body framing, and they're about 5, like you will see them like pulling through. But right now, hot dry, they've been replaced by robots. And one thing we are failing to address is that as individuals too, we also need to adapt and transition into this thing. We can't stay the same forever. So you need to do research, like courses that we can actually do. But then, my man,
who gets to do the courses?
That's the thing.
Who gets in university? Who even gets to graduate? F7 or in as fast as we're not funding you, you must do your last year.
Let's just take a short break and I will be back. We'll be back after the break. We're back again, guys. We're still at it as we're talking about unemployment, the issue of unemployment in South Africa. And as Tibza was saying earlier on, that education actually goes hand in hand with this unemployment thing that's currently happening. It was before we actually went to the break. It was actually about to talk about how it goes hand in hand, if I'm not mistaken, and my brother.
Sure.
So I'll just let you get back to where you were at without wasting any further time. You see.
Yeah. Sure, Akani. No. So the issue of what I want to get to is, what education is that right? So what I believe is education. Of course, it has many disciplines within it, also how you relate, or how you teach in the classroom, your style of teaching, your philosophy, all these things. So we have a classroom that is understood. You're trying alternative, modes of learning. You're looking at these kids. They have different talents. I think look at the 2000s right now. They are more. I think the active side is working a lot. Put a song, man. Put a song. I think they learn in different ways. Myself at more than everyone, but I think
like that classroom culture has changed.
Yeah, you must have a classroom, right? And I don't want to touch much on it, but I'm hoping there'll be a podcast where you give time for education.
Yeah, nah.
We look into it, because now it's a problem for.
Yeah, because I actually did an episode with 2 educators, but then it's more like external consultants who actually just go around schools doing career schools. And they were talking about challenges that they encounter with young guys in most cases, in terms of like innovation and everything that's happening at the moment, saying like in most cases they actually highlighted a point that the episode is going to drop most probably in the next upcoming week. But then they actually highlighted a point like they said one of the challenges that they tend to encounter when they're busy trying to assist these learners with applying for tertiary, saving this career exhibition, is that when they get to this school, most teachers and principals are not willing to let them in to actually share their message, what they are doing. So since you're a teacher, Anne, I'm not off-ramping, but then I think it's something, Jay, I think you actually have an answer to that maybe. How can we actually fix that working relationship? Because in a way, it's also, I feel like educators are also playing a part in assisting with lowering the unemployment rate, because I think once you take someone to varsity, they have the knowledge to start businesses, because varsity is not for only seeking employment at the end of the day. So how do we fix that working relationship between young guys with like external consultants, accommodating them, allowing them to come into school?
So what they do is, before they come to school, they do it through the department. They have to go out to the They have to go to the people and ask for permission. And once they've been granted permission, they come to it. I don't know how the answering and who they meet goes, but I'm sure they meet the deputy or the principal, or whoever will be assigned. But I would think those are the people. And then from there, as educators were told, this is people who are here, that will come at a certain time. So this is how it's relating the stuff. So it's there, but I don't know if you are able to pressure. We're still new, we haven't met.
The new generation our hope is on y'all guys to actually change, like what we're talking about, the classroom culture, the system that we're referring to. Y'all, the new generation, are actually supposed to be pioneering these things. Because now,
you have a youth that is diagnosed. The youth know that they have
address. Like they say, he was happy, the happy but sad generation.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
And you're talking about someone who cannot. This person has one person, you know, partner. You know, people argue that love now cannot sustain a relationship. There must be economics within it. So because issues are so those are other issues. now daughter, yeah. You know.
But those are facts because I think. As you say.
So daughter, you know, must look good, man. AKAY, you know, the way she wants to look.
And with unemployment, it's hard. That's why the relationship with the faith, like no.
You want to? It's just a lot of things. The conclusion of
unemployment is actually.
You get depressed. You know,
it's actually contributing to a lot of mental health issues and social issues. Because like all the interviews I've done, the problem ends up being like unemployment. I won't lie, like all the interviews, like I think I said it earlier on, like okay, what's the main problem that that you think is actually contributing maybe to mental health? Unemployment is there. It's the major problem because how you get excluded in most social circles because they know that's how it works. And then Motu feel like a social outcast in most cases. I feel like those are some of the issues we're supposed to be addressing because like unemployment is actually playing a huge role for mental health things. And especially with men. Men are getting retrenched right now.
You know,
so how do you think with like people getting retrenched, especially men who are actually married, how and there's actually the LGBT. So how do you actually think unemployment is contributing to the whole gender-based violence issue that's currently around in the country?
So in this country, apparently when you are smart, you cannot do this because you are smart. So apparently you have to attain a certain education that makes you smart. So that smartness you cannot, you know. And then this is someone who is a teacher who can lead. Okay, fine, great. But do you understand the idea behind and the sense of direction? It seems that etiological clarity that needs to be, you know, introduced, man. You know, but either think young people must drive out, you know.
Something that I think we are doing. So how do we even go about uniting ourselves?
So if it's that thing like you want to unite but there are no economy to unite. And then myself to one of the or
maintaining.
It's not maintaining. I think this is what now to a certain extent you shouldn't have communication other problems. Like this is a conversation that at some point, you know, you get to a certain extent where you feel for no and you want to do these things which is maybe some people taking out of so it's the kind of people that we are trying to bring in society. So it's the kind of education that's going to more, you know, young people who is no one that we had an answer that society that want to live like that. Because they live is to what part of the society.
You need to contribute to that.
Understand, you need to, but it's not like nobody wants to contribute. It's like then you have an education system that tells you that no, when I can our specific you must go get you call us now jobs, you know.
The part-time learnership, say 1 year, and then you back home chilling.
I understand that. I mean, so those issues, I mean, but those are some of the issues that we need to think about when we're looking at the curriculum and policy of, you know, learners that we are bringing into society. You know, what kind of a learner, and nurturing that talent, nurturing that as somebody who doesn't need coding a relationship
need money.
Or must not have that is a different kind of culture. We have a blessing situation. Transactional sex, people are taught like people, there's the argument
but I feel like this is a podcast episode in its own. Hey, I won't lie, because I feel like now we're taking a look at relationships, but yeah, I get that they actually play a role in terms of unemployment and everything, but then I actually wanted us to see like gender-based, because like once people lose jobs, usually that didn't affect us psychologically. That's what I actually wanted to find out from you, Jorge, how that actually affects like these people livelihood once Bakala lose a span, how the situation usually gets from your own perspective. Like what would you say, like that actually unemployment rate is affecting men psychologically as they are busy losing jobs, and that usually results in them actually resulting to maybe abusing their women and children at home. So I would actually like to find out from your own perspective, like how unemployment actually plays a role in all that.
Yeah, man, AKAY, in all of that, must not forget that when you're dealing with gender based violence, certain power, when you deal with masculinity, you are not going to have a bit of feminism. You know, feminism of a different kind of way, not a toxic. Make men feel like they are not well. Feminism is about equality. You know, and equality is a right? Is that you cannot someone how you want. You know? In that way, they're able to find each other. It deals with the muscle. You know that we are not, but it doesn't mean that now you must come with. Because there are issues that have to do with, you know, money, the economy, that you see how you do. That will be part of how you deal with it. Right? But now we are dealing with the man who, you know, is under pressure. Come on, you know, it's just on top of the man. How funny, how tough, like, you know, another guy time it's not the money. Like when I also that must not also say,
yeah, those are things.
Right. Nah, you get what I mean. They'll be there in ways that, you know, do not make it that you're not unemployed. Right? But they also move to now you have a situation where you move a daughter, man, you know, like, and then people get frustrated, people have inner issues, you know, people also in that area, you know, how to deal with whatever they are dealing with. And because then we talk about gender masculinity, because it can only be there, you know, raise your hand. Then you must deal with the education system. That's why there's everything, that's why there's diet, that's why there's, you know, it's the kind of, when we talk about risk behavior, you know, what are we talking about? And now we are also talking about different kinds of, you know, seeing each other as people. Okay, last time we had a LGBT, you know, this guy, right? And so I want to show you the kind of how it escalates from just the economics of unemployed. You are just taken away from social life. You know what I mean? And it boils down to you getting depressed and all of that. So you need, as a guy, you need to learn how to, deal with issues in a certain way that you're not. And also you need also people in your life that are not going to, make you feel who are toxic like that. Or understand why do you keep yourself in a situation? Move away, avoid, type of thing. Yeah, but that is the short of that, man. We need to look at I hope we get teachers so that we're able to discuss properly with, in the lines of education.
We'll do an episode on that. We'll do it, and it's coming. Don't worry about it. But then, before I actually wrap up the show, I still have one more question for you. As we've been mentioning the fourth industrial revolution, how the changes are happening in most professional workspaces around SA at the moment. Because as you can see, artificial intelligence is busy replacing work that has been done by humans. They say it's saving time. So how can we, members of society, actually transition or adapt into these whole changes? Because there's actually skills that you can acquire to be part of this movement, to still be able to make a living out of all this. So how do we transition as members of society into this whole movement? From your own perspective, Valenji.
Yeah, it becomes a problem a bit to me when we talk about getting to those things, because there's structural issues, and here as people must also come in, but we need also to be aligned with a government that is aligned with the aspirations of people, and have a direction to where they are taking them. I said last year that you cannot. It's not that we don't want to be part of the fourth industrial revolution, but the fourth industrial revolution can work in our favor, to favor people. Let us fight, issues in the country, like using for IR were able to solve, engineering, like you have so many people who bring resources to the country. There was an example that was used. A lot of the time, why there isn't much space for things what people in youth, like that they reserve space for that, because cities are doing the right thing. So they actually have to leave space. So those are certain issues of access. Now you have a mother who has to be told, she's on the way to, but there are people who have already without going through the proper measure. I understand. So those are some of the things. So we need to look at what in the side revolution and how it can work for our people. We had a situation where like 250. My thing is, you have a system that is going to minimize in such a pandemic. You are going to have a system. We're talking about why people are working at home, we're having hybrid learning. How is hybrid learning for that kids in primary who are moving because you said it yourself, there are kids who speak fluently, who are able to do things at a very young age that you have to,
some of the things we weren't even able to do like back then during when we were at their age.
You deal with the issue in a proper way that is going to enable you as a government to have more coffers that are going to be invested in the education of people that you are going to give them these skills. We are in the age of YR and we're talking about the digital divide. We're talking about people who don't know TV, electricity, who stays behind, what we live in. So how it can help us is that, we have your Fabricatio, they call it food.
Education.
It's technology. I think it was written down by Parliament, right? And then it was formulated into a working forum for focusing on technology. So in company or schools,
innovation.
you can't buy technological things without talking to them. So for now, what they did is that they give up bagaris to those who are in ICT. And my thing is, we are coming. This is why not only ICT, like it must be a priority that ICT is starting. Must move on smart slides. Videos, different types of that is going to be liberatory to the
Because
to liberate the mind.
in most cases, if you can even observe, I think most of us actually got our first emails after matric when we started going to varsity, when we applied. But then I feel like those are some of the things that kids should actually be learning, like having emails, actually engaging. But then there are actually laws, like you said, that are there that are actually preventing all these things. But like you're saying, it's time we actually see these things like smart boards, smart TVs, because okay, high school they are there for matriculants, but then what about the lower level? Because now it becomes a challenge when you get to varsity. You can't even write a formal email because it's something you're not used to. We've been in those situations where you're supposed to write a formal email maybe to a lecture there, but then you don't even know how to structure it, whether to start with dear or good day. You see such vibe. But then, as we are saying, we actually should be grooming these young ones as they are playing there from an early age to operate all these things. Because it goes back to the point I made the other day. It was more like a question I asked those two gents I was with. I was like, how do you think you as teachers and educators can actually help in preparing like these young ones for the 4IR and tertiary and everything from an early age, you see? So in a way, I'm also raising that question to you, you see.
Sure. There's a few things that is being done in lower primary school. I know there's and I know that she used to be my first year teacher, she's engaged with STEM, science, technology, they're doing something I know with future and primary school which is great. Creating opportunities and promoting technological advancement in countries in rural areas, but it's not enough. It's not enough when there isn't, and we can have all the technology in the world, but it is not working for you. Why does it benefit? And if it's there, do you have conducive environment to learn and stuff? Now that it's locked down, all at once, everybody's making a noise, you must take care of the kids.
online learning. It's affecting everyone inside their house.
So you understand?
No, I get you, bro. I get you.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're about to conclude and to wrap it off. But then before I actually wrap it off and everything, I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to just give us anything that you feel like maybe I might have not have touched on, or something that we did not discuss. You feel like we might have left out during our convo, just to wrap up the convo, like just summarize everything for us. You see, I'm just gonna give you that 2 minutes, but then before I do that, let me just remind the viewers out there, the real talkers who are actually viewing right now, to don't forget to click that follow button and subscribe button on all our listening platforms. We're depending on them to grow the show. And also please share with your friends out there, because like we're actually talking about issues that matter. And issues are many, as Tibbs are said. Zipaya. So like share and just engage with us out there. But then let me just get back to Tibbs. Tibbs, my man. The platform is yours, man.
Yeah, I think maybe what I should really do is, part of what could be a solution to all of this must also contribute as much as we're able to argue and as much. We must take this consideration, the ability to get right. I think once we are able to we're going to have people who are going to independently want to do other things, but they have capacity to do it, as a country, and we must allow them to have them. In a just way that is going to serve everyone and everyone's aspirations. Yeah, I think for now I just want to leave it there. For me, it's just must have people who can once you are able to do that, you are able to, it will be up to you how you do that.
How you use it to your advantage.
But you must also be able to show it to others, other people. Yeah, because
like you said, we need to be united, collaborating on business ideas to actually defeat the unemployment rate. Apart from that, Mr. Tibbs, it's been an honor having you on the show. Yeah, it's been an honor.
I think this is my first interview, so I'm very excited.
And I'm also camera shy, by the way, just for my viewers that have a but I'm also one of these. So we're learning through the way. So opportunities are out there, guys. It's up to y'all out there as individuals to like look for information how you can actually pursue these things. That's all I'm also gonna leave you with. Like Google is there, you can actually do a lot of research with the internet, man. We are, like we said, K4IR, the internet is there to our advantage. So let's capitalize on that. People are actually making money via the TikTok or Matsati. And then we have individuals who are out there actually sitting for government, creativity at the moment. That's what's needed. You should be able to think out of the box. Apart from that, like I said, don't forget to click on that subscribe button there. Tebza, my man, it's been an honor, man, once again, man. Apart from that, we're signing out.